Welcome, everyone. Of course, this is Goku Sun DBZ, and happy Halloween. This is October 31st. Today is a special 10 list. It's not really a specific order of top 10. This is 10 games, in my opinion, are great to play on All Hallows Eve. Some of them are actual horror games, some are supernatural games, not necessarily actual horror, because I've already done top 10 favorite horror games in the past. So, with that said, let's talk about, in my opinion, 10 great games to play for Halloween. And this crosses all genres of gaming. The first game of which I recommend checking out, a great game to play, in my opinion, for Halloween. The first game is actually a platformer, but it does have essence and, I think, spirit perfectly for Halloween time. And that is a great game originally done on the PS1. Also got a remaster on the PSP and got a remake on the PS4. The first of the 10 games I recommend checking out is Medieval. Medieval is a great game to play, in my opinion, for Halloween. It's a great supernatural themed game. It's a really fun platformer action game, in my opinion. And frankly, it's just a lot of fun. And I think it is a perfect thing to go with Halloween time. If you're not big into horror, this might be a game to look into to play for Halloween. It's great, it's a lot of fun, it's family friendly. In general, it's a perfect game for the basically many different age groups. Game number two that of recommendations is has elements of survival horror along with elements of action. It's a great solid game. You can get the original, was released on the PS2, and we got a remaster on the PS4, as well as Xbox One PC. And that is from the Masters Capcom. The second game I personally recommend highly is Onimusha, or more specifically, Onimusha Warlords. It is a great game if you like horror aspects, survival horror, but you want also more combat and stuff in your horror game. I actually think then a game like Onimusha may just do the trick for you. Also, if you like games like Dark Souls, you also may quite enjoy this game. I think it's a perfect game to play for Halloween time. Coming up, the third game in really a mobile game, but I think it is a mobile game that is actually pretty decent. It's a horror themed mobile game, but I actually think of all horror mobile games, it's one of the better ones quality wise. The third game I recommend for more mobile users, for people that prefer playing on whether it be Mac or Android devices. Here's a game for you, a recommendation. At number 3 is the original Outlast. Outlast 1 is actually solid. Outlast 2, I've only played a very little amount of. Now, with the original Outlast, I played on Chromebook. So, I'm not sure how it would do on console version. I might someday, if I can get super cheap, I may try out the console port and do a record playthrough. But that remains to be seen. But I do know from playing the game on Chromebook, it's actually a lot of fun. I genuinely recommend, if you're looking for more mobile game, Outlast I think will do the trick perfectly. Coming in at number, or rather, the fourth game recommendation is a horror themed first person shooter. I think this will be up your alley just perfectly. If you like a lot of action with your first person shooter, but you want creepy, spooky elements with jump scares and stuff galore, here's a great recommendation. This was released on past gen on the PS3 as well as the Xbox 360. You can get the game dirt cheap easily, probably under $10, no problem. And it's still a really great and fun game. My fourth recommendation is the original F.E.A.R. F.E.A.R is a great series in general. I think F.E.A.R 2 is also superb. F.E.A.R 3, I'm 50-50 with, but F.E.A.R 1 is great, honestly. If you like first person shooters, you want action, but you also want elements of horror, This is a game that won't overburn you with horror, and I think you will genuinely appreciate. Coming in at 5th of recommendations is another shooter game, but this is one for more people that like playing multiplayer and stuff online. Perfect recommendation for you as well. That is from the great game makers Valve, though they haven't really made games in a while. Next recommendation technically is a double pack I'd recommend, and that is Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Great two games if you like multiplayer online. There's still a lot of people playing this game online today. More specifically, though, I would recommend the 360 version of the game personally, because you're going to find more people online on the 360 version. Next, we have the 6th game of recommendations is a fighting game. It's not necessarily a super great game overall. There definitely is some issues, and the game can feel clunky at times, but I genuinely like it. It's a great supernatural themed game. It's a fine game. I think that is perfect to encapsulate and play during Halloween. And that is a little fighting game called Bad Omen. Bad Omen is exclusively, I believe, PS4 only. It's a very interesting fun game. You can easily find a game for under $20 without any problems. I picked up the game for, I think, $20 brand new just a couple months after it released. It was originally released at like $40. It has a story mode. Eventually, sometime I may do another playthrough of the game. But it's actually a really interesting, really unique fighting game. Speaking of, suggestion number 6 is another fine game I highly recommend. And it is a true all-time classic. And the 6th game I recommend, another fine game, is of course Darkstalkers. Or rather, more specifically, I recommend Darkstalkers 3, aka Vampire Savior. Great game, you can easily get it digital on PSN. If you don't have a PS1 or anything, you can get it easily on PS3. You can get it on the Vita. You can get it on the PS. I don't know definitely if you can get on PS4, but PS3 and PS Vita, no problem. You can get the game easily for under $10. If you want to go like the way you can import or get the digital remaster version on PS3, that being Darkstalkers or Vampire Resurrection, which is great, and it's a better route because that way you can play Vampire and Vampire Savior. Why it doesn't include Vampire Hunter, I'm not quite sure, but whatever. With that said, also you can get another cool version of the game, technically also on Dreamcast and PSP, called, trying to mirror the exact title, something Tower, but it's a really unique sort of remaster in a way. It's enhanced, but still great game. Game number 7. We're gonna go back to, I think, a bit more family-friendly-esque type game with elements of horror that I think you can genuinely enjoy for the most part, and I think theme-wise will go good for Halloween. The 7th game is a classic platformer. It is glitchy at times, but it is a game I enjoyed when I was younger. I think it's good if you're a PS1 gamer, you really like classic Halloween-themed games and stuff from the PS1 era. Here's a game for you. I recommend. It's a platformer called Jersey Devil, coming in at the 7th recommendation. Seriously, check out Jersey Devil. It may have some glitch issues here and there, but it's still I think, a quite enjoyable platformer. That is, if you're a big platformer, I recommend it. 8th game recommendation. If you're looking for some a little more mature-sided, perfect recommendation for you. The 8th recommendation I would give is probably a classic called Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Great game. You can get on PS1. I specifically, though, recommend the Dreamcast version, as it is by far my favorite version, the superior platform to play it on. Though, keep in mind, I am a little biased because Dreamcast is my favorite console of all time. Though PS1 is in second place. So whatever. 9th game I recommend highly for Halloween, great. If you want a little bit more of an RPG with your horror, well, here's a perfect recommendation from Square Enix, or rather Squaresoft at the time. Ninth recommendation is a great. Its best way to describe it is Chrono Trigger meets Resident Evil, and that is a great game called Parasite Eve. Great game. If you've never played Parasite, I recommend it. You can easily get digital version on PS3 as well as the Vita. You can get for like $10. It's pretty good. You can get actually a pretty good mint condition PS1 copy for probably about $30 or so. So it's still not super expensive. Unlike Parasite 2, which is going for like on average 60 and up for the most part. And the last game recommendation I have, if you like survival horror games and you like dinosaurs, well, here's a perfect recommendation for you from the makers of Resident Evil at Capcom. My 10th and final game recommendation for Halloween, if you like your dinosaurs, Dino Crisis on Dreamcast and PlayStation. Seriously, if you've never played the original Dino Crisis, do it. Dino Crisis 2 is okay, it's more action-oriented than Dino Crisis 1, but Dino Crisis is still a great, underrated gem in my opinion. But with that said, that is just 10, I think, games I highly recommend, I think are perfect to play during Halloween. And I am going to give just one special little honorable mention recommendation, and that is a great game from Kojima, of course, or rather Konami involved with. It's a very unique game. It's actually a 3D fighting game. It's released only for the Nintendo Wii. It is called Castlevania Judgment. And if you want to know anything about the game, check out a pretty cool fellow gaming YouTuber. Just recently did a video about this game himself. And I say thank you to him for that, and for introducing more people to the game. It's a underrated gem in my opinion. Castlevania Judgment is very unique. It is cool that at least you can play with Alucard, and you can fight against Dracula, which is always good. The gaming show, if you're curious at all about seeing gameplay and everything about it, his name is Top Hat Gaming Man. Seriously, check out Top Hat Gaming if you get a chance. Really awesome guy. Personally, I think he's definitely a lot of fun. I love his wit in British comedy. But anyways, with that said, I'll see y'all next time, and have a good and happy Halloween, and stay safe out there, everyone. For the craziness going on, and the fact tonight we're getting a full moon on Halloween. The first time in decades this has ever happened. Pretty cool. But I'll see y'all next time. Happy Halloween again.